All right, so today we're going to talk about Africa's essential questions. So there were 5 history questions that we looked at. All right, question 1. How did European partitioning, or the dividing of Africa, contribute to conflict, civil war, and to artificial political boundaries? These are things that you wrote. You said partitioning of Africa contributed to conflict due to the fact that many different beliefs and cultures collided, causing this conflict. The partitioning destroyed African traditions and caused ethnic groups and religious groups to fight, contributing to civil war. We looked at Nigeria and how there's a split between the Muslims and the Christians. It says also the partitioning contributed towards artificial political boundaries. These boundaries caused the different ethnic groups and religious groups to be forced together. These artificial political boundaries were drawn with no respect for Africa's internal boundaries or societies. So a map of Africa that you see today was drawn up and divided up based upon geography and where different resources were. Okay? Number 2. How did nationalism lead to independence in South Africa, Kenya, and Nigeria? So these were the 3 countries that we looked at. So what, first of all, is nationalism? Nationalism is pride in your country. It says nationalism led to independence in South Africa, Kenya, and Nigeria because the Africans were tired of the Europeans taking the resources and abusing their people. Nationalism led to independence in South Africa when the Africans decided to fight back to the Dutch settlers and British later on. Since they were classified as second-class citizens, they also formed the African National Congress, okay, the ANC in South Africa. Kenya got its independence from the British rule under the leadership of Joseph Kenyatta, even though that really wasn't true freedom. And then lastly, Nigeria got its independence from Britain in 1960 after nationalism encouraged the Nigerians to speak. And we've talked about how oil plays a role in Nigeria. Okay? So this is how nationalism led to independence in these places. Number 3. How was apartheid created and dissolved in South Africa? Apartheid is the legal segregation of races in South Africa. After the Europeans took over the South African government, they immediately began enforcing existing policies of racial segregation under a system of legislation known as apartheid. Apartheid ended when peaceful protests took place and people spoke their minds against the segregation in South Africa. It wasn't always peaceful, but the end of it was with the last white president of South Africa, F.W. de Klerk, we've talked about him, and then Nelson Mandela, who was the first black president of South Africa, took a huge role in these actions. They both won the Nobel Peace Prize because of their actions. All right, number 4. Wanted a little more specific about what role did they play in the ending of apartheid. They both worked together to stop apartheid. Mandela went to jail for his beliefs, 27 years, and he led protests against the segregation. F.W. de Klerk was the last white president of South Africa who freed Nelson Mandela from jail, and then they both worked to stop apartheid. Okay, and then talked about the Nobel Peace Prize. Good. All right, the last thing, number 5. Number 5, what is the impact on the Pan-African movement on the continent of Africa? It made an impact on Africa by helping putting a stop to European control. It encouraged Africans to unite against segregation and work together as a unified continent. Okay? Did it unite all Africans together economically like they wanted it to? No. Okay? Did it lead to some good? Yes. All right? So these are your 5 essential questions for the history of South Africa.